I'm proud and grateful that we have an environment where people can speak their truth. There's really no separation, no divide between my personal values and my mission in life and the mission of the organization that I represent and lead. Tell me what's happening to you. Tell me what you're most worried about, and then let's explore together.
In those conversations with survivors, it's so important to be authentic, listening, helping, trying to guide.
You kind of have to face all the sides of yourself.
Today's guest is Liz Roberts. She's the CEO of Safe Horizon, the nation's largest nonprofit victim services organization. For more than 40 years, Safe Horizon has been a lifeline for survivors of domestic violence, child abuse, human trafficking, and other forms of trauma. Liz has spent her career advancing justice and healing, and today she's sharing the one thing as a leader that's made the biggest difference. Liz, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I am delighted to be here with you, Jess.
It's a pleasure, and you and I have gotten to cross paths a few times here and there, but today we're jumping right into the one thing that's made the big difference. What do you think as a leader, as a person?
You know, if you asked me that question at different points in my career, I probably would have given different answers. But today, I would say definitely authenticity. And what that means for me is that there's really no separation, no divide between my personal values and my mission in life and the mission of the organization that I represent and lead. And so every day I feel like I get to show up as my whole self, as a leader, and work to fulfill this mission that means so much to me personally.
Wonderful. Now, in some organizations, people dance around on eggshells because the leader might want to hear a certain thing or a
Mhm,
narrative or whatever it is that makes them
mhm,
happy. How do you live it out in front of people
mhm.
so that other people can be authentic as well?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think part of that is being vulnerable, being, willing to talk about kind of what I bring, to acknowledge moments where I feel unsure or where I've made a mistake. That creates space where others can do that as well. And then, I think the other thing that I try to model as a leader is that we don't have to be in lockstep all the time. We need to agree on some basic things about why we're here, how we do our work. But we also, really learn from each other all the time because we do have diverse experience and perspectives.
So, in being authentic as a leader, it's okay to sometimes say, I don't really know if this is a great idea.
Hmm.
Just letting you know. And, how do you act it the
And
rest of the time?
there's a lot of listening that goes on around here. We really listen to each other deeply. We learn to listen deeply. And the way I look at that is that, of course, in order to be there for survivors of violence, we have to listen deeply. Our role isn't to come in and say, oh, hey, you've experienced domestic violence. This is what you should do. Our role is to come in and say, tell me what's happening to you. Tell me what you're most worried about. And then let's explore together what might be effective in helping you with your safety, with your healing. So it's, deeply client centered, the way that we show up. And so we actually have to treat each other that way as well, because it's not going to work. If our staff feel that nobody listens to them, they're not going to be able to listen to survivors.
Right. And I'm sure in those conversations with survivors, it's so important to be authentic, listening, helping, trying to
Mhm.
guide. And obviously, survivors sharing their stories are being about as raw and authentic as they can ever be. So, Liz, I understand some of this is also personal to you.
Yeah, it is. And it's interesting because when I started working in this field, I didn't see it that way. But as I was listening to survivors tell their stories and listening to them grapple with the aftermath of violence, what I came to realize was that I had witnessed violence growing up as a child and that had left real scars. The problem is, I grew up in a family and in a cultural context where we didn't talk about that sort of thing. And so I literally didn't even have the words for what I had experienced as a child until I came to work in this field. And then I was able to connect the dots and to start my own healing journey. And so working in this field for 40 years and having a kind of a parallel process of my own healing has been incredibly powerful. And it's been such a gift and a privilege to be able to take something really painful from my past and turn it to something good by doing this work.
Yeah, I mean, even just thinking about back to childhood, there are a lot of things that gray line of what was acceptable or not
Mhm.
acceptable that would be
Yeah.
completely unacceptable now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And thankfully we have organizations that are at least standing there to say, hey, there's help if you need it.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can change those norms and we are changing them.
What would be one strategy that you could share with other people to just dig in as far as being authentic?
Mm. I actually think it's a lot about presence. So I was a really active Zen practitioner for about 10 years, meditating just about every day, going to long silent retreats, just like really settling into myself. And when you do that, when you sit on a cushion for hours in silent meditation, you kind of have to face all the sides of yourself.
Yeah.
You have to face like every possible feeling that might arise, and you learn to face those things and to stay grounded. I try to bring that kind of energy to my work, staying grounded and being able to face anything that comes up.
And do you still have time for meditation?
I wish I could make the excuse that I don't have time. I am not meditating every day these days,
And
but
I'll
I
come clean.
sure.
I love like meditating and haven't really been doing it like I'd
Mm,
like to. I miss it.
yeah. And it takes a lot of discipline and motivation to stick with it as a daily practice.
Yeah.
But it
Jerry
has changed
Seinfeld.
me forever in a way that, is just a part of who I am now.
Ooh, I like that. And the comedian Jerry Seinfeld
Mm.
says he has to wake up to relax. Like he said, it made no
Mhm.
sense in the beginning. He's got to wait. He's got to set his alarm earlier so he has more time so that he can, which is not actually relaxing. But you get the idea of we just have to make it happen, like authenticity, like anything.
Yeah,
Um,
you make time for 3 meals a day, so if
that's true. We
meditation
don't.
is critically important to you, you make time for that.
I love it. And so, as far as Safe Horizon, explain a little bit more exactly who you're helping and how it all comes together.
Mhm. So we're a nonprofit based in New York City. We have offices in every part of the city throughout all 5 boroughs, and we're here to support survivors of violence, abuse, and exploitation. So that means that everything from domestic violence and child abuse to human trafficking, community violence, sexual assault, and more. You could call us up if you had been the victim of identity theft, or you could call us up if you were being abused by your intimate partner. And we would be there to help you navigate your safety, help you recover, help you with your healing process.
Wow. And how long have has the organization been doing this work?
We were founded in 1978. We're looking forward to our 50th anniversary in just a few years. Very exciting. And we have become really by far the largest victim service organization in the United States. And we're not just the biggest, but also, I think, the most comprehensive in terms of the range of survivors that we serve, from infants to elders, from, every part of the world, every cultural background, every language, and every type of experience with violence, abuse, and exploitation.
Every one of those ways that you help people, the situations that they're in, is big on its own. Trafficking, domestic violence, just to kids, every one of those.
Mhm,
What's the biggest challenge that you're finding just in this moment in time
mhm, mhm.
compared to, even just a few years back?
In this moment in time, so here we are in 2025. We are an organization that has always worked hard, and part of this is being in New York City, responding to the communities we serve. We work hard to make sure that our services are welcoming and accessible to everybody, regardless of their language, regardless of their immigration status, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity, regardless of race. And we have embraced that approach in a way that means we are very self-reflective. We have to work hard to make sure we're not bringing our biases to the table,
Mm,
that we are, in fact, truly welcoming to everybody. And unfortunately, we have an administration in Washington that doesn't believe in that approach and that doesn't support our commitment to meeting survivors where they are and making our services safe for everybody. So that is honestly our biggest threat right now.
and has that hurt with funding in any way or yeah.
We have so far lost one grant, a federal Department of Justice grant that helped us to serve victims of domestic violence in the Bronx. And we are, I think just braced every day for another shoe to drop for further assaults, either on our funding or on our approach.
Right. So it's never been more important for people to give or to get involved or at least go to the site,
That's
which we put
exactly
on the
right.
screen to see how they can help as well, even from
That's
afar.
right. That's right. I mean, it's really the private support that we receive that makes it possible for us to do the work in the quality that every single survivor who comes to us deserves, with the flexibility, the ability to innovate that only private funding will support, because government funding is always so constrained and so limited.
And it's interesting you bring up, we talk about authenticity, our own biases, people who are
Mhm.
helping others. They may have a thought that goes through their head and need to keep that in check. Is there special training for them to, I guess, remain neutral and just
Mhm.
do their best to help no matter what?
Yeah, we provide training. We call it client-centered practice training that really equips all of our client-facing staff to meet survivors where they are. So we teach people, core engagement strategies, core strategies for helping the survivor give voice to what their greatest concerns and needs are. And then, we teach our staff to do this kind of creative and flexible safety planning with survivors that really takes into account what the survivor's resources are.
With a few other nonprofits that I've interviewed their CEOs, they've shared some interesting stories. I don't know
Mhm.
if there's a story that you're okay or comfortable sharing of maybe some people that you've helped.
Yeah, I've been doing this work for 40 plus years. I started out as a volunteer in a domestic violence shelter in the Boston area in the 80s. So I've worked with thousands of survivors over those years and heard so many stories. The person I'm thinking of right now is a woman named Salinas, and that's her real name because she has chosen to share her story publicly. She came to us in the midst of the pandemic, kind of the height of the pandemic, with her infant son. And she was fleeing an ex who had been, physically, psychologically, emotionally abusive to her. She was terrified. He was actually just being released from prison. And she was worried that, he would come after her. And so she came into one of our shelters with her infant son and stayed with us for many months, and not only was able to know that she was safe during that period in a confidential location, but really to start the healing process in a way she hadn't done before. So one of the things that she had always been passionate about is art. And we offered an art therapy program in that shelter. She participated, and she's now in art school, living in her own apartment with her son, and just really thriving and hopeful about the future. And she has shared her art publicly, including some pieces that really speak to what her painful journey has been. And she was a speaker at our gala a couple of years ago. And just every time I hear her speak, it's so moving and so inspiring because you can feel the authenticity and the passion and the hopefulness that she has in her life now.
Wow. Well, it's wonderful work that you're doing. I appreciate you sharing the angle today, the one thing which was authenticity. And let me ask you, as a leader, are you okay if the people under you are authentically truthful in the exact answers that they give every time? How do you navigate that?
You mean when they're talking with me or when they're talking with
Yes,
the
if they
public?
have to really deliver a hard truth right at your face.
Yeah, it's one of the ways I've grown as a leader. I think starting out, I felt like, oh no, I messed up. This person's disappointed in me. And now I approach it with curiosity, and I'm proud and grateful that we have an environment where people can speak their truths.
Oh, very nice. Liz, thank you so much for sharing all of this today.
So good to see you again, Jess, and thank you for having me.
A pleasure.